Good evening and welcome to the Ferguson City Council meeting for June the 13th, excuse me. Meeting is now called to order. Let us stand for a silent prayer. The pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Pittman, could you please call the roll?
Here.
Here.
Councilman Ashley.
Here.
Councilwoman Robinette.
Here.
Councilwoman Lipton. Here. Nelson.
Here.
Mayor Jones.
Here. A quorum is present. At this time, we move to the portion of public comments of the meeting. Clerk Pittman, do we have any public comments?
Roy Horton.
Just want to share, you have 3 minutes. When you 40 seconds out, I'll let you know.
First of all, good evening, everybody. Several complaints, especially about the streets on Rose, and Dupree.
Rose and Dupree.
Yeah, 70400 Block Road. You have a runoff that there's no drainage system, water's going straight down. And it's regular top, there's no drainage. The street is gonna collapse down to 6100 Block of Dupree. You have a pole that's in the middle of the street. You have one at Dupree and Rose. I have complained for years about this. You have vegetation that is at the end of the 7400 Block of Rose. I have called Public Works. No one have came out. I had emailed all the person. Many times, in this situation, there's no response to it. What do I have to do to get any problem fixed? I done spent over $700 on the front end of my car. But this for over a year or so. And you have a water in the middle of the pool. They fix one, and it's back again. So those are my comments, I like, somebody to get that.
Thank you, sir.
Shirley Davis.
Good evening.
I understand that. I live on Willing Court, 10715 Willing Court. My name is Shirley Davis. I've lived in Ferguson 23 years. And the street that I'm complaining about, like the gentleman that just said, is Woodland. It's like riding on a gravel road in the state of Mississippi on a flat. It's terrible. And I have complained so many times. And I've called this, I think his name is Gibberts. Falling on deaf air. So the street is past bad. It's horrible. And when we finish talking here, nobody listens. I'm concerned about the trash that we see. I would like to be a part of Ferguson as far as helping. And some of you up there do know me. In fact, I know Ms. Nikita, I know Ms. Ella. But here's the thing, we have to reach out to the community. And not only that, when we complain, please hear us. Don't just let this go unnoticed. If I asked this, I know my time is about up. I asked Mr. Gibbons, I said, just drive down my street. It is horrible. I almost hit a car head on trying to avoid a huge. Will you all please just listen to us and take note of what we're saying? This is on Woodwind, and it is past bad. It's horrible. Thank you for listening, and I do hope someone will get back with me on thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davis.
Ms. Davis, can you leave your contact information with Miss Octavia? Thank you, and the same for the gentleman.
Brooks.
Good evening. I wanted to just follow up with my comments that I made last time about the South Day project. As far as if those plans are gonna correlate with the plans to be able to improve it with the bike, with the bike and pedestrian plan, if that's still going on, because it's on the website for Ferguson and it's been there for a long time. As far as improving the sidewalks, as far as putting trees, like I was telling you before, on the sidewalks, and I said that's gonna cause problem with the sidewalks in the future coming up, and then also obstructing the view of people driving to park in their yards. I want to know how much of that person's yard is gonna be cut off in order to make a sidewalk, and then also create spaces for bikes and pedestrians. I mean, I know the whole, like I said before, the creek, the Mailing Trailway is being, it's in progress right now. So I'm just trying to find out, is there anybody that can follow up with me to find out things, because I'm sure the people that live there probably don't have a clue about the update with South Day project as well as with the bike and pedestrian plan that Ferguson has, and if you all are implementing it or if it's just still in the making. I want to also ask the question as far as, I know it's on here about a construction company contract with the city to be able to do the project. And I'm trying to find out how many other people actually were on the bid to be able to have the job. I mean, I looked at their, you said four people? Okay. Yeah, so because I looked at their website to see what their, work has been and everything else. And just wanted to ask questions about their project and exactly when is it gonna start? If the bid has gone through. Because I mean, I don't know if you all have, at this point, I know living over there, you all haven't given us notation that this is about to start this summer. I don't know what information that you all gonna present in our neighborhood, our council people, or the city as a whole. But if you can, please let us know well ahead of time. And then also I want to follow up with the bus stop landing pads to find out if you all have looked into any resources to be able to put some on Suburban as well. Because, I mean, that's a whole bus route, and it's a whole lot of bus stops on Suburban that's in ditches, and the lighting is better down that street, but we need more lighting on Dade as well. Cause it's real dark in spaces like by Carson, by was it Tiffin, by North, and then also a mirror needs to be put right there somewhere in the vicinity of Earth Dance, because when you're coming up that hill, it's a blind spot. So you don't know who's coming over the hill or who's going back and forth. So while this construction is happening, we definitely need some kind of a direction to know what's gonna happen, who's coming over that blind spot. So those are some of the things I want to talk about. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brooks.
Craig Recke.
Good evening to you. I hope you remember me from last month. I worked for the police department for a long time, over 43 years. I was here with other members last month raising concerns with regards to several issues concerning the city's current retirees. However, neither I nor any other retiree has received any direct written correspondence concerning me. One concern included the confusing, error-filled, and unprecedented number of tax Form 1099-Rs given out to us this year by the city. That number included 4 over a 4-month period. Supposed to receive only 1. Which one to use was a mystery to most of us. And a result, we're having to refile our tax return. Another concern was over whether or not the city was going to assist the retirees monetarily to pay refile and possibly pay extra fees or fines to the IRS through no fault of our own. Another concern was the pension board recommending what equates to a 14% increase to the pension multiplier for future retirees, but only a small 4% increase to current retirees, or 3.5 times less. No retiree has seen any increase at all since they retired. As I stated previously, considering a majority of retirees or employees retired between 15 and 25 years ago, the small 4% being proposed for current retirees equates to only $40 per $1,000 in pension money. Currently, a big percentage of retirees receive less than $1,000 per month pension check now. I was a member of the pension board for almost 6 years until I retired. We always talked about a long overdue increase to the pension of future retirees, as none had been made for over 25 years. And we also talked about the same percentage increase for the current retirees. This was the way I was told it should only happen. We were told to increase the pension for future retirees, the same percentage increase had to be given to the current retirees, as it was only right, proper, and the fair way to take care of both sides. I know you're now considering these proposals, and I want to applaud you for this. I thank you and the pension board for even considering this. However, while you may believe you cannot financially provide both current and future retirees with the same 14% increase, there is more than one way to accomplish this. One way is by means of incremental increases over a 3 to 4 year period of time would eventually provide the current retirees with the same 14% being considered for future retirees. As a former member of the pension board, currently actuarial tables and other factors would show only a small negligible increase to the yearly total payout in this manner, and over time would actually decrease the amount. This would be a blessing to the current retirees who provided decades of pride-filled service to the city of Ferguson and firmly believe they would be taking care of the city or by the city in their retirement years. Please don't let them down. Thank you.
Thank you. Shirley Emerson.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm Shirley Emerson, and I'm the president of the Forestwood Neighborhood Association, or Forestwood Community Development Corporation, rather. And I want to offer a special thanks to you, Mayor Jones, and to Councilwoman Phaedra Nelson, and to Councilwoman Laquita Noah for your support and your participation in several events that we had in this past week. My deepest appreciation and thanks to Chief Doyle, who came out on last Tuesday evening and fellowship with the residents of the Forestwood Neighborhood Association. You know how hectic and busy you are, Chief, so we truly are grateful to you for coming and spending the time with us. I also want to thank my fellow Forestwood CDC members, and to Don Stevens, president of Forestwood Neighborhood Association, to the members of the association for all of the hard work you did in hosting this event, and also to our residents for coming and meeting and greeting Chief Doyle. Secondly, I want to thank the council. Thank you, Mayor, the Councilwoman Nelson Noah, for this past Saturday for the cleanup. Thank you to my council people, to my colleagues on the Forestwood CDC, to the Neighborhood Association, to Don Stevens, the president, and to all the residents that came out and helped to clean up in the Forestwood neighborhood. Because one of our goals is to increase the level of owner-occupied housing, and we know it's easier to attract prospective homeowners when the neighborhood is clean. And neighborhood stability and cleanliness must be a destination. It's an ongoing journey, rather. It's not a destination, but it's an ongoing journey. And so to be continued. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Emerson. Thank you to everyone who had public comments. We ask that staff will interact with the people that made the public comments and get with our city clerk to get their information. Now we have our manager's report. Is Chief Hampton?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Chief Hampton.
Mayor and
interim city
council.
manager.
Yes, ma'am. Mayor, council, can you hear me? It's a pleasure being here tonight. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be there in person.
Can't hear you, Chief.
You can't. How about now?
Got a delay. Okay,
How about
try it
now?
again, Chief.
How's that? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Mayor, council, it's a pleasure being here, as always, in front of you. Unfortunately, I'm not there tonight in person. But my manager's report will be pretty short. But first I want to touch on a couple things. We do have a lighting study that is completed, and when I get back in town, we will go over it with Ameren and Chief Doyle. And I've also been talking to Greg Retke with the retirees. We are going to try to have better communication with the retirees. They are actually getting a team together, and we'll have a team from the city side that are active employees. This way we can open out those lines of communication, and then we're always going to be able to be in front of things. I know Corey was going to address some of the streets that were talked about tonight. And then moving on from there, I was going to go back and with the Ameren study, once we know the streets are and the Dade project, because I think some of the Dade lighting will be increased there as well. Corey is going to we're going to put some like banners out on the street. We're probably going to do some door knocking a little bit to let the people of Dade know what's happening, so that they are not caught off guard with the traffic coming down the street of construction, and also them moving their cars out of the street, and when they're going to be able to park, or where they're going to be able to park. So Corey will be taking care of that as well, and he will speak here briefly tonight as well in the manager's report. But first off, Mayor, I'd like to introduce Troy Doyle for his police update. Chief Doyle.
Mayor, members of the council, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Chief Doyle here to provide the report for the police department. Maybe.
Got it right, Emma? It worked when we tested it. It worked earlier. Yeah, it was working earlier. I know it was working.
Till Octavia fix it all, kind of go through my report. As usual, I'll start off with the staffing report. So just like last month, we're still hovering around 29 officers. However, that will change next month. We received a resignation here just the other day. However, that being said, we also just recently hired an internal affairs lieutenant for the police department too.
That's me doing it manually. Go ahead, keep going.
So in regards to part one crime, again, not a whole lot to see with this particular slide. Go back. So aggravated assaults is up 12% and auto thefts are up 25%. So aggravated assaults, again, we had an incident at the pool, which contributed to that. And we had some other incidents in the area where that number has increased. In regards to auto theft, again, not happy about that number, but it's not unique to the city of Ferguson. Regional wide, we having issues with auto theft. Just a reminder to the community that we do offer the steering wheel locks. So if you're interested, you can always come up to the police department to get one. Next one, I'm sorry. As far as part two crimes, again, I'm fairly happy with this particular slide. Other than simple assaults are up 18%. Those are mainly your domestics. When our officers do respond to them, we do offer assistance to the victims. The other one is destruction of property, where we're up 43%. Again, that contributes to a number of vehicles that were broken into in regards to the attempt thefts. And the trespassing, which is up 433%, that's contributed to like 2 or 3 individuals, emotionally disturbed people that are in our city that contributed to that particular number. As far as traffic enforcement in the city, and I have to remind the council and the residents that the whole time I've been here, the complaints that I get from the community more than anything is traffic enforcement. It's traffic enforcement. And so we have increased that. As you look at the chart there, total stops have increased around 56%. Citations issued has increased like 35%, and warnings increased to 160%. From this, comparing year to date from last year to this year. Again, nothing to see on this chart. Vehicle accidents, 256 compared to 261 last year. I want to spend a little bit of time on this slide here. So the shot spotter activation, as usual, our activations are mainly around the eastern and western portions of the city. I did want to give you this data. So the data for the top 3 hours of our shot spotter activation is usually from 12 a.m., 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. at night. So it's usually in the evening time. So just like anything else, criminals like the, do things in the dark. So, they don't like light. So we are paying attention to that. Most of our gunfire that took place last month was around a 1300 block of Sharondale. Our officers are fully aware of that, and they're providing extra patrol in that particular area. And the days of the week last month where our shot spotter activations occurred was Monday, Saturday, and Sundays. And those days fluctuate, just depend on the month. Those are not just set days. The other part I want to mention about the shot spotter alerts is that, so over the years, and I compared from like 2016 or 17, whenever we started to present day. So the number of shot spot alerts, meaning that when they also get these alerts, that is actually trending pretty even across the board. However, the number of shots being fired is trending up. So in other words, we getting around the same amount of alerts. However, the people that are firing guns are firing more shots than they have in the previous times, which is a concern. And again, comparing year to date from last year to this year, year to date, we're actually down 15% in regards to shot spotter calls. As a result of that, our officers have been pretty diligent in responding to these calls. On the 31st of May, they made an arrest and seized 2 firearms on West Florissant. Next. And also on June the 1st, the very next day, after a shot spotter activation, they made another arrest and seized of firearms in the Canfield area. A Tip Tag Tuesday, this has been a topic of discussion over the last few weeks. I wanted to address this here at the council and to the residents of our community this evening. Again, and I don't feel like I need to say it, but I feel like I do need to say this. Again, this is no attempt to generate revenue for the city. This has everything in the world to do with making people come into compliance with state law. Again, when I came here, I've been here for 10 weeks now. In 10 weeks, we had 3 pedestrians that have been struck by vehicles. And in order to be able to do proper investigations, it's very important that our residents in our community have their vehicles properly registered in order for us to enhance our investigations in these. So someone asked me, so why we just do it on Tuesdays? We don't enforce temp tags just on Tuesdays. Tuesday just happen to be a catchy, the temp tag Tuesday happen to be a catchy phrase, just to remind the community and our officers that we are focusing on these type of issues. However, we do focus on traffic enforcement and expired temporary tags. I want to give kudos to my officers. Again, oftentimes the police department is criticized on things that they're not doing, but I think it's important for not only for this council, but for the residents to know that, we got a call for a car theft in progress at our, Walmart on West Florissant. The officers responded in a, great time. They was there. They able to arrest 2 individuals that were attempting to steal 2 Kias off the parking lot, of the Walmart. So, want to make sure that they get recognized for that. Again, I want to give kudos to the Major K Squad. As you're aware, last week we had an unfortunate incident off of Knoll Stone where an individual was murdered. I activated the Major K Squad who responded along with our detectives. They did a pretty good investigation. We were able to arrest an individual for that particular murder, and that individual is currently being held at the county jail on $1 million bond, cash only. I'm not sure if I mentioned this at the last council meeting, but we have recently enhanced our communications in dispatch. So we now have E911. And what that means for you and the citizens is that now when you dial 911 from your cell phone, the police department is able to pinpoint exactly where you're calling from. So if something was to ever happen to you and you couldn't call back, at least we know where you're at. So that's an enhancement for the city. This year, the police department, as we do annually, participated in the Special Olympics. I want to thank my guys and gals for running in that event. So the other thing, the last thing, I want to talk about a little bit of rebranding. So we talked about this within the police department. So when you think about Ferguson, everybody, so let's go back to 2014. When you think about Ferguson, everybody think about what took place then, the uprising and everything. And from that point, everything still looks the same, right? The uniforms, the badges, the patches, the design of the police cars. So one of the things that we want to do for the city of Ferguson is kind of rebrand that city. We want to see different, we want people to see the police department different light and different shapes. So what I did is put together what I call a chiefs committee to have officers come together and come up with a design to see what that looks like for the city. I want to have very little input in it because I wanted to get buy-in from the officers. So what you're looking at is the design that they came up for the police car. One of the things that obviously the design is a little bit different from what we currently have, but one of the things that we added on top was roof numbers. I retired from the county police department, so oftentimes all our cars had numbers on top of the roof, and whenever we call the helicopter in to help us out in crime, they usually don't know which car it is. They got to say this car on this street or whatnot. So by adding the numbers on top of the roofs of the police cars, now the helicopter can see and say, okay, car 107, you need to go this way or that way. So, and again, it's an enhancement for the police department. They also came up with a new police patch, red, white, and blue. They wanted to be somewhat patriotic. And we also kept the train, I wanted the train in there to have some symbolic history to the city of Ferguson. And those are depictions of what the new police badges will look like. I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Councilwoman Lipka.
Well, first of all, this is all excellent. I think this is a phenomenal idea and thank you for making this happen. And also thank your officers for the hard work they've been doing in these crazy times that have been happening and tragic times. But what I wanted to ask you about, and you're new to our community, but I know you're familiar with this throughout the county, is the 4th of July is coming up. And the shooting is unbelievable. It's unbearable. So I didn't know if there's any process going on right now or some planning going on for programs that we could hopefully address this problem. I also wanted to take a minute to say thank you for the social media information that's been out there, you know, letting the citizens know when you find guns and you've taken them off the street and that kind of thing. It's really, really helpful, and it gives the citizens a lot more confidence in what's going on around them. And then my final thing was, I've been noticing, I go to Planet Fitness every day, and I've been noticing at least 2 times a week, at least, there's broken glass from somebody's car being broken into in the parking lot. And I think it's gotten so common that the staff in the stores and the gym don't even bother calling you guys anymore. So I didn't know if there was anything that you could suggest that I could do. I mean, I can call when I see the broken glass, but at that point it's way too late. but what can we do to help the officers in those situations? So my question is that, and my question is 4th of July. So thank you.
All right, so try to remember everything. So in regards to the 4th of July, we are in the planning process for
Okay.
what our enforcement is going to look like on the 4th of July. So we have a meeting, I believe, next Monday to discuss what that's going to look like. I'll be more than happy to let you know. what
Yeah,
our
even if
plans
we
are.
want to put, the only thing I would suggest is maybe we put out signs that says, you know, to inform the community that it's going to be different this year.
Absolutely, we can do that. I'm sorry, remind me of your second.
No,
question.
the second one is, what can I do or what can citizens do to help the officers in the department in the regards of those broken windows and things like that in the parking lot at Planet Fitness, Harbor Freight, Walmart?
Same thing is, just getting the word out there, just letting people know when you see suspicious people on these parking lots to notify us. That's how we were able to catch the individuals that were stealing at the Walmart. Someone happened to call and say, hey, there's two guys out here that's trying to break into vehicles. So anytime that we can get those calls when people see these suspicious individuals out there, that helps us out. However, what I will do too is go back and look at the data and see the date and times that these are occurring and see if we can come up with a pattern where I can deploy officers and resources at the time that we think that these are occurring.
So I have been paying attention to that.
Yes.
And so the pattern that I'm seeing is Saturday nights,
Okay,
probably after their closing time, and Sunday nights. So it's usually you see the broken glass early in the morning, Sunday from the Saturday night event, or early in the morning, Monday from a Sunday night event. And the other thing I would say, would it be beneficial for even us as council to help, or police staff to maybe get an informational flyer and we just walk around to all the business owners and you know, the managers in the stores to remind them to call?
I'd be more than happy to work with you on that.
I would love to help you with that. That's all I have.
Councilwoman Noah.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief, my question is in regards to the spotter, slide. I'm sorry. There were 3 of the numbers in pink and the rest were in yellow. What does that mean? What's the difference?
That's a very good question, and I don't have an answer for you, but I will find out.
Oh, okay.
Anyone else? Hear none? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Also, Mayor, with that being said, with his rebranding, with the police rebranding, it's a perfect time because we're at the beginning of a new fiscal year. And we also do have new police cars coming in, which you should see here, hopefully before July 4th. We should have 1 or 2 on the street with their new, logo on it. Next, Mayor and Council, I'd like to bring up Corey Gilbert from the Public Works Department. Corey?
Corey Gilbert, thank you.
Mayor, good evening, council. Some updates about the upcoming street projects. Southgate Avenue Improvement Project. Bid closed May 31st. We received 4 bids. Ferguson's Construction was the lowest bidder. Whenever it's MoDOT funded project, we're obligated to go with the lowest bidder. We have a contract here. As soon as we sign this contract and get it back to MoDOT, we can get a start date in that project. I will be working diligently to get signs out to the community about those dates. About the South Day project.
No.
I
You're
want to give
talking
an
about
update
South
about,
Day. Go ahead.
I want to give updates about some of the bad streets in the city of Ferguson. After carefully, here's a spreadsheet, South Calvert Street. The concrete slab in the city of Ferguson. I've decided, myself and John have decided we'll go out for bid on all 244 slabs first, And then we'll reevaluate the asphalt streets and go out for bid on those.
Let me ask you a question. One of the residents just talked about Dupree and Rollers. Have you had an opportunity to look at Dupree?
Yes, ma'am. So Dupree is a part of the CDBG.
Right.
Avenue between Woodstock and Blanding. Blanding between Bermuda Drive. Those streets are environmentally cleared and they're actually going up.
The gentleman that brought it up, he just walked out the door, so he missed it.
The streets with stars, you guys. Atmore, Elkins, Just Camp. Those are really bad streets. Concrete slabs over there. Just in that ward alone, it's 156 total slab that needs to be replaced. 68 in Ward 2, 20 in Ward 3. The number 20 in Ward 3 is not that we're neglecting Ward 3, it's because Ward 3 is a lot of the CDBG money is.
Okay. Who raised their hand first? Okay. Councilwoman Nelson.
Corey, I just had a couple of questions. I remember we talked about Ballman and Millman.
Yeah.
Are those not eligible for slabs? Cause I see that this is.
It's not a slab street. It's an overlay street,
Okay,
asphalt street, I'm sorry. So that's one of the streets I will be considering to overlay when it's time to overlay. Evaluate for overlay.
and Laurel,
Now,
and Laurel too?
I have to evaluate.
Okay. Was it you? Okay.
Long.
Go right ahead.
Okay, I just have two questions. Well, just for clarity, Corey, I think that the resident, as far as Dupree, he was referring to like Rose and Dupree. Yeah, Rouse and Dupree, like that side. And then the second is, I think it's much like Phaedra's, Councilwoman Nelson's question. Ruggles was on the street. Is that that's not part of this?
Rutherford is gonna be a street that's gonna be evaluated for overlay.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify and ask because I didn't see it in the presentation. Thank you.
No.
Councilwoman Lipka.
So, hi there. The CDBG projects that you've got on the books right now, when, can you remind me again when you said those will probably start?
So they're up for design right now
Okay,
and cost analysis. I also added DAY Drive and North Winds to that list. So those streets be added to the CDBG.
okay. And then the Dade project, we had a lot of questions regarding that in our public comments, which a lot of the answers are in the information that's in here. But just to kind of reiterate, the Dade project, excuse me, the contractor that you chose to go with out of the 4 that sent in a bid was also vetted by Weiss Design Group, and they came back with a letter that's in here that says that they recommend the use of that particular contractor, correct?
Yes, but we have no control over, if they're the lowest bidder, MoDOT is managing this project, we have to look over.
Sure. But I get the positive thing is that Weiss also said they were a good contractor. So it's not a situation where we're getting the lowest guy and he may not be that good, or it sounds like we're getting a low bid that is from a good contractor.
Because 3 of the 4, I didn't agree with anybody.
Okay. And then as far as the bus pads go, those were already built into the design for the Dade project. But as far as anything on Suburban, that would be something completely different from the Dade project. And they can't be considered as a combination action
No.
because that's like two different things completely.
Two different things.
All right, and then the other question, is there any way to let the citizens on Dade know how much of their yards will become sidewalk? Is that type of information, is that available to the citizens?
I can't answer that.
Okay,
I can
that's
find out.
okay. Yeah, I understand. That is all I had, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Councilman Ashby.
Great progress and really happy for everything you're doing. Is there, are you going to publish a list that actually has the streets so that people can see, where on Elkins? I mean, how much public information are you going to put out about what you're doing ahead of time, just so people can see whether or not their street is on that or their block is on that?
I've thought about that much, but I will.
Thanks.
Any other question for Corey Gilbert?
I would just say, Mayor, that, and to your comment, that for Phaedra and I, we have so many citizens in our ward that are looking forward to this. I mean, it's a matter of the council members getting the word out as well, I would say, because Phaedra and I are definitely gonna be making phone calls tomorrow saying, hey, it's happening.
Yeah, Mayor, Council, this is John Hampton again. We actually would like to have a meeting with that neighborhood association up there. So then that way we can actually come over there and talk to them and let them know that they're not forgotten, that we're working on it and that it is going to be done. Corey's done a lot with the streets. We have quite a bit of money that we're going to do with this slab replacement, and then we're going to do a lot more with the overlay. So this is a great opportunity for us to take a big leap into getting a lot of things done. And I think Corey is out there grading the streets right now. And we still may have a street or two that, if we get enough complaints on that, we may jump over there and see what we need to do as well.
No, I was just. going-
Councilwoman Noah.
Thank you, Mayor. I was just going to say, I would rather wait on you before I start passing or sharing that information with residents. So whatever information you can share with us would be better for me.
We're going out for bid soon on these,
Councilwoman Nelson.
We're gonna look at the streets concerning the asphalt, these, when you look at that, after you finish this.
After we finish this,
Okay.
we're gonna go around and evaluate the asphalt.
All right.
We want to get the concrete streets out of the way.
Mayor and Council, also, I've been talking to Corey, and we are also going to be looking at this fall, early fall into the late fall, looking at, again, tarring the streets to hopefully stop some of this slab undermining and the freezing thawing of the water getting in the cracks. So that's something that Ferguson got away from, and we're going to be going back towards that program again this fall.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Mayor.
That's it. Thank you,
That's it.
Corey.
Mayor and Council, that's it for the manager's portion of the council meeting, my report. Thank you.
Thank you, interim city manager Hampton. The manager's report is complete. We move to the special presentation. Interim city manager, would you please introduce our guests?
Yes, Mayor. After the flooding that we had this a couple of summers or summer ago, we saw the losses that we took. And to better protect the city from our insurance company not giving to us what we believe is justly part of our payment to them, we've been looking into Assured. And we have Steve Kickham here tonight, which he has a little presentation that he's going to go over. And this is more of a way to protect the city as a whole. We need to look at everything to make sure we're doing the right things for the city and the residents going forward. So Steve, if you can go ahead with your presentation, please.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, council members.
Evening.
Thank you for having me. So, as acting city administrator Hampton mentioned, he brought us in because he knows some of the work that we've done for some fire districts as well as some municipalities. And there's something very interesting of how we go about it. And how we discover things within your municipality, how we go about attacking it. The first couple of slides, and I'm going to go through these pretty quickly, but it's important that you learn that we were a local company. We got purchased by Assured Partners. Assured Partners is a very large conglomerate in the United States. But the great thing about that piece of it is we're the 5th largest broker of property and casualty. And we have expertise in certain areas. And these are areas where we call our verticals. One of them is public health. We have expertise throughout that help us on claims management, help us on risk management. And Chase Chavers is here with me as well, who's our director of risk management, who's excellent. He's just going to speak briefly for us as well. So what we do is we come in, we met with Chief Hampton and his team. And what we do is we do a discovery. We call it a discovery meeting. And we just ask questions. Just ask and what is going on? What's your strategic plan look like? What does your strategic plan look like from a risk management perspective? What are you doing on a monthly basis from a safety perspective, et cetera? And we gather up all this information. We put together a team. Here's the team that is put together for the city of Ferguson. It's pretty substantial, but it's all people in St. Louis. It's all people that know this area well. I grew up in Bellwood and Bellefonte neighbors. Don't live here now, but it's still, this area means quite a bit to me, and I want to be a part of its success, quite frankly. So this is what we do. We assess, we strategize them. So we had this discovery meeting with everyone. Then we went and we said, okay, let us build some time, and we build a blueprint. And this blueprint helps lay everything out. Here are the policies that we're just looking to work with the city of Ferguson on initially. We are a broker. We're not the carrier. We're not the insurance company. We're the broker. So we sit in between. It doesn't cost you anything, $0. And what John had mentioned before is I don't think he even knows who the broker is, or we're not even sure who the broker was on a few of these policies. We're just trying to come in and give you the service that I think you deserve and that you pay for, quite frankly. So the property coverage, there's a couple smaller ones, cybersecurity, which is quite frankly really important to you, especially with the 911 service, auto liability and general liability with MoPerm as well. None of those carriers are changing, at least to begin with. We're just kind of sitting in between there. So, and these next couple slides are the important ones. So we just kind of looked at and we said, okay, what are some risks? What are some opportunities? Some risks, we had some flood coverage issues. We had a lack of inland marine coverage on some of the policies. Inland marine is like when you have a fire truck, all the stuff that's in the fire truck that's not attached is part of your inland marine policy. You got to make sure that's covered correctly. One of the things that we found that's extremely important when you have $1 million automobiles, right? You have $1 million trucks, especially in the fire, is you can do agreed value or actual cash value. You, with your home, your car, you do actual cash value. You wreck a car that's been, that's only worth $10,000 now, you're only getting $10,000. When you have $1 million pumper truck, you want to make sure that's insured, even though it might be 8 years old. For you to replace it, it's still going to cost you $1 million. So you can do agreed value on those. And it's about $250 per $100,000. So, and I think that was an issue that popped up in our discussions, was that cost you about $500,000. I think you had a pumper truck or a ladder truck, I'm not sure which one it was, that got totaled. and it was about $500,000 out of the city's coffers. So that is something we dig into those policies, and we want you to at least know, we're at least going to bring it to your attention that you can do agreed value versus actual cash value. That's a really easy one that we just saw. Okay, that is something that would have never happened under our watch. And then we just look at opportunities. We talked about strategic plan, and then so this is this will change completely once we dial it in, but because the timelines have changed a little bit. But what we try to do is we try to do a 12-month plan that we adhere to and that the city adheres to collectively. And we know it's going to change throughout the course of the year, but at the end of the year, I want to be coming here and I want you saying, all right, why don't we do this? Or, okay, did we accomplish this? Why did we accomplish this 2 months late? And you at least know what to expect. Okay. And then I'm just going to tell you, Chase, you just want to say a few words about yourself and what you do? Is that okay with everyone?
My name is Chase Ferguson, this is advisor for Insured Partners. My role in this is basically leading toward investment resource standpoint, but also being able to kind of analyze what you guys are currently doing, where you currently stand from a policy, procedures, training, resource standpoint. I'm here to be able to support you guys. From what Steve has mentioned, we want to be able to make sure that you're getting the services that you need. He mentioned earlier that, we sit as this middle, right between the carrier and you guys yourself. So we're the advocate for you. So we want to be able to do that so that you guys reach out and you guys have those times of need, but we also want to be able to make sure that we set you guys up for success. So by doing that, we're going to create, a gap analysis for you to be able to see where you guys currently sit, what type of items we need to be able to put in play to be able to make you more appealing to the carriers when that time comes. So as you guys currently say, we're not going to miss anything. You guys have the carriers that you have, but when the time comes, we want to be able to make sure that you have everything that you need to build the most. Thank you, Pat.
Yeah, so we build a narrative. Yeah, so that is what we have. That's what we're working on. It's been great so far, and we appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Any questions? Councilwoman Lipka.
So the question that I have, and Mr. Shavers made me think of it. Yeah. You were talking about getting us in shape, so to speak. I know Ferguson, we were in great shape, and then we've had a lot of things happen over the last 8 years, and we lost some of our rankings, so to speak, financially, and now we've been rebuilding that. So with that being said, do you see, just from your initial observation, do you see an opportunity for us to be more aggressive on shopping carriers in the near future? Or are we going to be looking at a situation where right now you're just helping us get in shape, so to speak, but it's going to be at least another 12 months or so before we can be, choosy with our carriers?
So with a couple of lines, they renew July 1st. So we're just going to renew those with the same carriers. I don't see us waiting 12 months to take that out to market. We want to make sure, and the key thing with the carriers is you have to build a narrative around it. I mean, they're going to look at all the numbers. They're going to look at your losses, et cetera, but you have to build a narrative. Like, you might have had a loss on an automobile, but whenever we have that, we want to tell the story about what we've done to stop it from happening again.
Correct.
Okay, so does your ratings hurt you to some extent? It can certainly have an effect, but the conversations that we've had with a few carriers that we have, they are very interested in participating.
Good. Because I know I'm familiar with the brokerage industry with what you guys do. So, it's a situation, I just want to see us be as sharp as we can possibly be to get the best carriers for the best prices, as well as good coverage, so there's always that balance between how much coverage and how much do you want to save. So
there is certainly a balance. We can have you completely insured for you're gonna pay anything like cost you an arm and a leg. I mean, there is a risk reward when it comes to insurance. And that's just one of those things that we work through collectively. And we find out where your biggest risk is, or we find out, okay, this is the pot of money that we have to spend,
Mhm.
and this is where we think it's best.
Thank you.
Questions? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. The next item under special presentation, Show Me Healthy Homes Program, Joyce DeRay.
Show Me Missouri Healthy Homes Program. Put for $1.8 million recently, where we're going to improve the health and safety of homes. 135 homes in the state of Missouri. On average, we think we may spend up to $10,000 on a home, but we have a tiered process on how we're going to do those homes. And I'll explain to you later. You may wonder why St. Louis County is part of the Children's Hospital in the city. Well, HUD awarded this grant was in 2011. And Children's Mercy Hospital in Kansas City was a recipient. In fact, they were a recipient of it for 3 years. Their colleagues of ours, and they're well known for their Healthy Homes program, in which we received training from. So we knew the next couple of years that HUD is going to have these funding awards come out. And we said we should collaborate now, so when the future years come, we're not competing with one another. So that's the reason for us. And we wanted to make our packet more competitive than some of the other grants that are out there, or applicants out there. So the Healthy Homes Production Grant. This is a grant from the U.S. Department of HUD. And as a result of that funding opportunity, there were 60 awards issued, totaling about $104 million. It came through the Office of Lead Hazard and Control, through the Healthy Homes Production Program. And this grant will protect children and families with incomes at or below 80% of the area median income level. And we're going to target local health and safety hazards in the home for low-income families. So there are three primary goals of our grant. Again, we're improving the health and safety of families. The tier process is going to be tiered. The lower tier is going to be about $6,000 per improvement, where the tier 2 may make about $10,000 per home improvement. We're going to offer healthy home accessible and building industry twice a year. So for this grant is 3 years, and every 2 years we're going to offer some building and trade courses. And we also are going to work with our partners in the community and get this information out about what we can do. So locally in St. Louis County, we have 2 major grant partners. We work with Castle. And Castle is going to coordinate on our housing repair and intervention. Castle has a web assistance program, which we're going to leverage our funds for applicants who are eligible, and Castle gets a lot of their funding for their web assistance program with Department of Energy, Amber and Inspire. The Missouri Botanical Garden, the Earthway Center, they're going to be building industry courses through, and these courses are through the Building Performance Institute. There are 2 courses, Healthy Housing Principles and Building Science Principles. And those who are in the building and trades know that they need to educate communities to be able to receive type of thing. So I'm going to give you a little information on why we started this grant and some information, background information about Missouri as it relates to healthy homes and in Missouri and in St. Louis County. In fact, about 55% of the homes in Missouri were built in 1978. That's a concern because lead-based paint was banned over 2,000 Missouri children under 6 were tested had an elevated blood level of 5 micrograms deciliter or more in 2019. CDC has lowered that reference value limit now to 3.5 micrograms per deciliter. Asthma was responsible for over 30,000 emergency room department visits in 2014, and it's estimated about $150 million for hospitalization charges. And 30% of Missouri home tested for radon came back with levels to exceed the actual level. 4.0 microcuries a liter. In St. Louis County, just to give you some background, I believe this is through the American Lung Association, annual ozone air quality ranking of death. In 2020, 9.4% of St. Louis County adults have been told that they currently have asthma, according to our St. Louis County asthma profile. And that profile was updated about 2 weeks ago. It was available on the website for your review. Our highest hospitalization and emergency department discharge for asthma per population in the inner and outer parts of the county and the central sub areas of the county, we have the highest. And asthma responsible for over 25,000 emergency room department visits in the county in 2016. And finally, Black children are 8.9 times as likely as their white counterparts to visit the emergency department for asthma in the county. So I have a couple of maps to show you. This map is from my asthma profile, and it shows some of the emergency department visits. Really, I want to draw your attention to the little dark areas like the dark colored areas and those light colored areas. The dark areas are the inner and outer areas, inner and outer north areas of St. Louis County. And that's why we target North County for this particular grant. As you can see, the area that's in yellow, real light yellow, that's where they have the lower rates of asthma, where if you see some of the zip codes put out there, 63133, 63136, 138, 140, and 134 zip codes. Those are the ones for inner north, outer north county sub-region. Here's another map showing our housing data. And really what I want to draw your attention to, the darker the orange color, is that nearly 71% of the homes in St. Louis County were built prior to 1978. So again, prior to 1978, contained lead, but more likely there's lead in those homes. 10% of the homes were built before 1940, so we know those probably got lead. And the median year of our homes built in St. Louis County is 1969. So eligibility for our program. You have to be located in the St. Louis province. There are boundaries of St. Louis, but not every home located in that boundary is part of the province. So as a person applies for the program, eligibility, we use the county assessment map and other maps to confirm that house is really located in St. Louis County. We're looking at single family homes, owner occupied. Household income should not exceed 8% area median income as noted on this chart here. So, typically for a household of 4, can exceed 67,000. And then it's tagging out from my students, the program, tagging out information about a flyer about the grant. So the St. Louis Promise Zone. Promise Zone is designated by federal government. It covers North St. Louis City and North St. Louis County. Again, we will focus only in St. Louis County. And this area has the highest rates of asthma, housing disparities, and children under 18 living below the poverty. Our priority projects. Once a person applies for eligibility for the program and meet our requirements, then we're going to share that final information. They sign it saying it's okay to share with council. Council has a recommendation program. And we're going to see if we can leverage our funds because of their council federalization program, they can spend up to $10,000. So it's possible anywhere from $16,000, maybe up to $20,000 a home can get, depending on the violations that we find in there. Not violation, I say the health efficiency violation. We're looking at people who may have asthma because asthma is a concern. And another priority project is elder adults, persons with chronic illness, or someone living with a disability. So once a person is accepted and eligible in our program, they would get a home visit. So to be a part of this program, you agree that you're gonna let people come to your house. You're gonna have a lot of inspectors in there doing their inspection. So our team is a two-man team that comes out. We have public home specialists and a community health worker. They will look for asthma triggers, so those health or hazards in a home can cause someone to become ill. Community health worker will educate family. We will do a visual assessment supported by environmental measurements, where they take the readings while we're in there. I think our assessments are about 2 to 3 hours, depending on the size of the home, but at least we can expect it to be there for 2 hours. Radon tests will also be completed in home. And if the home comes back with the action level according to EPA, we will actually do a grant will pay for radon mitigation. But every home is going to be tested. And healthy home kits will be given certificates. So if you're a family, you come out there, for example, and notice that it's not carpet. You know, all carpet, accumulates a lot of dust and dirt. It's not good for anybody who has asthma, but the person hasn't had it cleaned. And the person may not have a vacuum. Part of that assessment, we will recommend, or with funding, our scope of work will ask that a specialist come out there and professional funding come out there and clean the carpet. And in their healthy homes kit, if they don't have a vacuum, that's one of the products that they would get. Now, we talked about doing a healthy home assessment. So those healthy home assessments is based on HUD 8 healthy home keep it domain. And those are keep it dry. So if we come inside of a home, we don't want any leaks of water protruding in the home. But how can we have mold? We know that's not good for anybody that has allergies, even though there's no regulations that enforce mold. We get lots all of that. We have more authority to regulate mold. But if we feel that mold usually there's mold, there's a source of a water leak somewhere in the home. So we will use that principle as for development work to address why they're getting moisture in the home. Another key principle is clean. We will give them clean products so their house. It's safe. So are there any tripping hazards? We have carpet again that may be ripped. If it's someone elderly who may need armrest or guard in their bathtub so they can get around. Keep it well ventilated. Does the kitchen exhaust fan work? Does the bathroom have an exhaust fan open the window? Of course, pest free. Is there rodent infestation? Is there another pest infestation in there? If so, we will have pest control come out and treat them, and also educate them about keeping the home pest free. Contaminant free. I spoke to you earlier about lead and radon. Those are the areas we like to keep contaminant free, as well as educate the family about keeping all of their chemicals away from children, make sure they're stored properly. Well maintained, we're talking about routine maintenance, the house maintained. And finally, comfortable. Is the house, does it keep colder out in the wintertime? And does it keep house cool in the summer? So those are the 8 healthy home principles. Scope of work, all of each client that are confident report. The scope of work is something that we work with Castle to develop the correction or the health intervention that needs to be done in the home. And here's this example, sample scope of work. You know, you see radon right at the end. If you got radon, the test is done, it comes back high, there's gonna be radon mitigation. Radon mitigation is about estimate, Davis told us about $1,500. That's how much we should, estimate the repair cost. So it could be less, but around $1,500. If there's mold and moisture in the home, here's some examples of items placed. And I would like you guys to see through a list of other ones that they will go in there and actually include in our scope of work. because our scope of work and what council will do are very similar. We will leverage our fund and try to do as many health-related and safety issues that we can address on our grant, where they will take the ones that they can use, so we're not taking our efforts to use our fund smarter. For this grant, there's no out-of-pocket costs for the client, meaning that there's no out-of-pocket costs. They just have to be willing to let people come into their home with inspection. This grant ends November 2025. For the last 6 months, we're doing report writing. So we anticipate that we probably will be finished the early part of the year or whenever our funds. We said we did 60 homes in St. Louis County, there are 75 in the Kansas City area. If we finish our 60 homes and there's still funding left over, we're gonna exhaust all of our funds until it's gone. So we said to be accountable for we're gonna do it 60. If more funding is available, we'll do more. And that's the highlight of our program. The information is have your flyer, and I should give you a QR code. If someone's interested in the program, you can go to the requirements, show them how to do that in this form. We've given you the contact information to call us, our website, has information, and want to email us information. Our team is small. It's a team of about 6 levels. There's only 2 people that go out and do the home assessment. To date, we have completed 15 homes. Our goal is to get 17 done by the end, 2 boards, 17. We have yet to work with capital to work with a contractor to help us do the home intervention. That's coming over the next couple of weeks. You guys will see, maybe in the newspaper, maybe a public notice. We're asking HUD, done some of this work, please use our funds and give it to us, and then we can start paying a contract. For the asthma data that I showed you in the slides, if anyone wanted to about asthma, that was shown to us from our one of our epidemiologists, Ellen. That's her email address. Information. And again, our asthma profile was just updated and put on the website. It's been 3 weeks ago. So this is new data. Maybe next week. And at this time, I'll take any questions.
Questions? Yeah. Councilwoman?
So this is a very interesting program, but 60 homes feels like a drop in the bucket of how many need to be addressed. Is that something that's going to be continued on year after year? I mean, the amount of the grant is so low to tackle something like that for what needs to be addressed. What are the long-term prospects that you're looking at?
Our plans are competitive. So our goals, our plans basically are to apply every year. We may not do it in conjunction with another partner. Although we're the lead applicant for the grant. Once we've gone through it one time, we can do it on our own, but it's good to have a partner who did it and was successful in the past. But the team is feeling like we can do this again. So I anticipate once we get to 2025 and the application on the funding is still available in 2026, we probably will be reapplying. Instead of sharing that 1.8 million to the maximum $2 million, we will probably apply for the 2 million and do it on our own. And all the funding stays.
Good luck to you.
Any other questions? I would like to say thank you, Joyce, and Ferguson is leading because Councilwoman Noor, Councilwoman Nelson, and Shirley Emerson, they've been knocking doors. And so you've been getting a lot of inquiries.
Thank you, thank you, and thank you. And anybody in the building, we start those training classes, start everything. Jim is National Health and Wellness Month. So every second June, we're planning to have one building and trade classes. First class is tomorrow, it's, based on healthy homes principles, and again, building and trade for no cost. And the other course is called, building science. So we're that on the second, and that's being taught by, Ferguson.
Okay.
So thank you guys, thank you for your time, and I look forward to getting those applications in.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thus end the special presentation. We move to our public hearing. Our community development person, Rachel St. Pierre, is she's here? If not, our public hearing is to operate childcare facility at 401 Doris Road. Where did she go? Okay,
She was here. Chris.
yeah, Chris, check for her.
Stepped out.
Did we have anyone sign up to speak? City
no.
clerk?
No.
Okay. Okay,
If we can
Go
just
ahead.
table this and then move on to the next one.
yeah,
and then-
let's table that, table this and move on. Evan Trump, would you come forward for the fiscal year 2023-24 budget?
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council, ladies and gentlemen. Pleasure being here. Tonight I'm presenting public hearing, the fiscal year 23-24 budget, and also the capital improvement program that comes along with that for the next 5 fiscal years, 24 through 2029. That's right. I have a brief presentation. I'll try not to take up too much time. Couple of the highlights, some of the highlights about the budget this year. And first of all, before we go any further, I do want to point out that the full budget workbook session is available on the website, on the city's website under the finance tab, down towards the bottom. So it's available for full viewing what council, myself, and the other members of the staff have gone through over the work sessions over the last 2 months. Couple of highlights that I would like to go over, point out that is if you do look at the proposed budget, expenditures have increased. However, we've also projecting revenues to increase as well. And I'll go into that, why we think that and why we're.
Hey, you're up.
We're revenues. I'm sorry, John.
Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
city manager.
Sounds like he's not on.
yeah, you're up. Okay, well,
You need to mute.
yeah, you better log on. I'll let Octavia know. Fuck.
Yeah. Mute.
Mute, mute him, okay.
Okay, you go ahead.
Okay,
work with him over
please,
here.
proceed,
Gladly.
finance director.
But also, we are also presenting a balanced budget this year with approximate surplus around $77,000 and change. We anticipate our fund balance to increase by $1 million at the end of the fiscal year. Just another note, and I know the council's been reminded of this, so I'm trying not to beat a dead horse, but downtown TIP is ending this year. And also, as we are actually right now only utilizing about 8% of our debt limit. What I mean by our debt limit is what state statutes allows us to use. So we do have some room. There's some flexibility if need be, not advocating that we continue to go into debt, but we do have some room to move there if we need to leverage ourselves. This slide just shows where our projected revenues do plan to be. If you look under 2024 budget down towards the bottom, total revenues, we do plan to be $27.7 million. The reason why there's several different higher increases from the last couple of years is the reason is after meeting with the staff and going over previous years, even before 2020, looking at 2018, going up to 2019, that we believe that as we're moving forward, coming out of COVID and COVID is ending, more businesses are opening up, more people are starting to spend money. We believe that the sales taxes, revenues are going to increase. Utility taxes are going to increase as well. So that's part of the reason why we believe the increase is going back to those types of numbers pre-COVID. So that's the trend we're seeing right now. This is also showing a very conservative approach of going up to 1% by 1%. Expenditures under 2024 budget, we're looking at spending around $27.6 million. The biggest part of this expenditure is going to be salaries and personnel costs, including with medical health benefits going up by 4% this year as well, as noted during our work sessions. These are our personal expenditures by department, going through the general, and then the next slide will be parks. As you can see that there are increases from the last few years, and as we go through as we noted later in the ordinance for the salaries, that we're trying to invest and realign our personnel salaries to where we're more competitive and better aligned with current cities that neighbor us as well, so we can be better equipped to keep and retain employees. This also does include increases by the fire union and also the police unions that were negotiated earlier this year. Parks, and then the next one, this is be our supplies and services by department. These are our general, and parks will be the next slide as well. This is our capital projects improvement. This is our CIP, which we did move some things out of CIP. The reason is we discussed is because we do plan to spend some of those dollars on it from ARPA. So that did free up some capital money, which is good. And which hopefully we'll be able to tackle some more projects, especially when it comes to the streets as well. And that's the last slide is our proposed spending of ARPA funds. As we noted that as of May 18th, we have about $3.89 million. We're planning on spending the $29,000 on the bulletproof vest for fire and PD, the $400,000 going to FNIP programs to based on their proposal that Larry Robinette gave. And that also includes demolition of houses of $200,000, looking at repairing the band shell at JW Park, which bids have already come in, I believe, on that. And then our biggest one, obviously, is dedicating $3 million of that ARPA funds to street repairs. And that includes the slabs that were discussed earlier. And then overall safety with speed humps and some other miscellaneous things from $230,000. That would deplete our ARPA funds for this next fiscal year. So that is a proposed budget, and I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for our finance director? You're none?
Well,
Thank you, Evan. You've done a tremendous job. We appreciate it. Okay. Has Rachel reappeared?
I do have one person that signed up, but I'm not sure if she signed up in error. But it was Erica Brooks, but it looked like she left. She might have just wanted the.
Yeah,
regular session,
she's.
so.
Mhm. Okay, well, we'll catch up with Rachel. Thus, in our public hearing, we move to our consent agenda. Our consent agenda for the city council.
Mayor, no, Rachel is available.
She is?
Yes, she's on Zoom.
Okie dokie. Let's go back.
talking, I can't hear her.
Well, she's on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, okay.
Okay,
The public
perfect.
hearing, Rachel, for the childcare facility at 401 Dorts Road.
Yes, ma'am. So we had a applicant come in and he's been working through this process for over a year. He is in the audience and he's able to answer questions if you have any that I cannot answer. Recently, we were able to get this through to planning and zoning and have them recommend their approval to you guys. This daycare facility is going to be in the Presbyterian Church. They always have a summer camp going. Not always, of course, it's seasonal for summer. And then in addition to that summer camp, they will have a full-time childcare facility going on as well in a different part of the building. So with that area in mind, he is asking for a special use permit, as that is what the code requires.
Anyone else for public hearing for the childcare?
No.
Okay, hear none. You talk to Octavia. You had your hand raised? Okay,
He's actually with, a
Yeah.
representative of the.
I know.
Oh, okay.
yeah. But I believe he wants to speak. Does any council member need an explanation about this childcare facility? We good? Thank you for offering. Okay. Now can I close the public hearing?
Thank you,
Okay.
Mayor and Council.
Thank you. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Okay. We move to our consent agenda for city council meeting minutes. The regular meeting minutes for 5/9/23 and 5/23/23. The special meeting minutes for 5/9/23, 5/23, 5/31, 5/31, and 6/6. Are there any corrections to the minutes?
Yes, Mayor,
Yes.
there are. Okay,
Councilwoman?
special meeting minutes 5/9/23. It says that Councilwoman Lipka made a motion and seconded it. I can't do both, so I think there's some mistake there.
I'll have to look at that.
And
Okay.
thank you.
Any other necessary corrections?
Yes, Mayor, for 5/23 regular meeting minutes, it states memorial, the correction needs to be, the word memorial needs to be corrected. The way that it's written, it isn't written correct. The way that it's spelled
Okay,
under my comments,
under your comment?
yes.
Okay.
Any other necessary corrections? Here none, I request a motion and a second to approve council meeting minutes.
So move Naquita Noah. Second, Naquita Noah.
Okay, it has been properly moved and second. Are you ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Minutes are approved. We don't have any appointments tonight. We are moved to our request. Octavia, we have requests for annual liquor license renewal.
Yes, Mayor. So the process is underway for our annual liquor licenses. They run from July 1 through June 30 every year. At present, I am presenting the following as they have met all of the requirements. So it's Paul's Market, Sam's Club, Phillips 66, the Ferguson Phillips 66, Walmart, Drake's Place, Montrese, Snooks Market, Mini Market 3, the Gala Rose Room, Elicious, Hive Cafe, Circle K, and Walgreens.
I'm requesting a motion and a second for approval.
So motion, Blake Ashby.
Second, Linda Lipka.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. The liquor license are approved. Moving to the proclamation, I will abridge the proclamation because I'm looking at the clock and we need to move on. It's a proclamation for honoring Lee Etta Hoskins, and it said, whereas the city of Ferguson recognized our honorable Lee Etta Hoskins for her contribution as a public servant and a community leader. And whereas, as I bridge this proclamation, Ms. Hoskins' service include 20 years as councilwoman in the city of Berkeley. She served as the Order of the Eastern Star for Caution number 94 and a password to matron. She served on the National Board of Directors for the National Women in Municipal Government and Board of Directors for the YWCA. She was a Missouri delegate for the 2004 National Democratic Convention. She was a member of the Second Missionary Baptist Church under the leadership of the late Reverend Earl Miller, where she found the church library, and later her pastor Miller dedicated the library in her honor. Hoskins was also a Girl Scout troop leader for more than 20 years. And whereas her unmeasurable dedication resulted in a list of accolades and accomplishments that goes on. On August 31st, 2018, a park was dedicated to her name, Lee Etta Hoskins Community Park. She was awarded the National Dunbar of Little Rock, Arkansas Alumni of the Year Award, Top Lady of Distinction, Top Lady of the Year, United States Postal Service Woman of the Year, NCNW Leadership Award, Yellow Rose Honoree, and Rams Quarterback Award for Community Services, say the least. Now, therefore, I, Ella Jones, Mayor of the City of Ferguson, on behalf of the Ferguson City Council, and along with friends, family, and co-workers, hereby applaud the Honorable Lee Etta Hoskins for her dedication and service, and hereby recognize her as a trailblazer and community servant. Thus, in the proclamation, we move to the resolution. Resolution number 2023-20. Without objections, we're introduced by council members present. Hear none, Attorney Carey, could you please read the resolution?
Yes, ma'am. Resolution number 2023-20. A resolution of the City of Ferguson, Missouri, authorizing the city manager to enter into and execute a lease agreement with NCL Government Capital for a street sweeper.
Interim City Manager.
Yes, Mayor. At this time, I'd like to have Evan Trump come up to the podium.
Mayor, members of council, we are asking, and we've gone through this conversation several times before, but again, right now, we're currently without an operable street sweeper, and we have been for quite some time. This has caused the streets not to be cleaned, maintained appropriately. Street sweeper would prolong the life of our streets, keeps our neighborhoods looking preserved and well kept. We are strongly recommending to City Council, we are allowed to purchase, enter a lease agreement with NCL to purchase lease a new Pelican Elgin street sweeper. This will be over a 5-year period. The annual lease payment of $61,967.34. We would be able to save $11,000 over the overall cost by trading in our old street sweeper, saving again the city $11,000. So the annual amount leased would be a little over $268,000. But again, the annual lease payment for the next 5 years would be $61,967.34. And I'd be glad to answer any questions. And also, if there's any street maintenance questions regarding that, I'll have to rely on Corey Gilbert.
Councilwoman Lipka.
So, Mr. Trump, the question I have is a lease to own. So at the end of the 5 years, it's ours, right?
Correct.
Is there any penalties or benefits if we could pay a little bit more each year or get this paid off a little quicker?
I'm sorry.
Well, I just know that sometimes in those 5-year payments that they've got built-in interest and so forth. is there a way we could save some money if we could move this a little faster?
If we could pay it off a little faster, we could, but now I did look at a 3-year lease also,
Uh-huh.
but the interest rate is a little higher.
Right.
So this is what I was trying to do, is save the city money the best way we can, but we could, I can inquire as far as if we do make an extra payment, if we signed up on the 5-year lease, if we would get penalized for paying it off early.
You know, like they always say, sign up for the 5-year and pay the 3-year and see what happens. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Any other questions? Councilman Palmer.
Does the lease go to zero or is there a buyout at the end?
Yes, I believe there is. I'm not sure. Correct. I believe we submitted the contract to you guys as well.
It's included in the packet.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I request a motion and a second for approval.
So move Naquita Noah.
Second, Phaedra Nelson.
Clerk Pittman, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Noah. Aye. Councilman Palmer.
Aye.
Councilman Ashby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Robinette.
Aye.
Mayor Jones.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lipple.
Aye.
Resolution number 2023-20 passes.
Thank you.
We move to resolution number 2023-21. Without objection, we're introduced by council members present. Hear none. Attorney Carey, could you please read the resolution?
Ma'am, resolution number 2023-21, a resolution of the city of Ferguson, Missouri, authorizing the city manager to enter into and execute a contract with Gershenson Construction for South Dade Avenue improvements.
Interim city manager.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, we've talked about this a couple of times tonight. If you need more information, I can bring Corey up. But otherwise, I think you have all the information presented to you earlier today.
Okay. I'm requesting a motion and a second for approval.
So move, Linda Lipka, Ward 1.
Second, Heather Robinette.
Clerk Pittman, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Lipka.
Aye.
Councilwoman Nelson.
Aye.
Councilwoman Noah. Aye. Councilman Palmer.
Aye.
Councilman Ashby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Robinette.
Aye.
Mayor Jones.
Aye. Resolution number 2023-21 passes. We move to bills requiring first reading. Bill number 7247. Without objection, we're introduced by council members present. Hear none. Attorney Carey, could you please read the bill by title only?
Yes, ma'am. Bill number 7247. An ordinance repealing ordinance number 2021-3697 and adopting an ordinance fixing the salaries and other compensation of all officers and employees of the city as provided in section 2-47 compensation of chapter 2 administration of the code of the city of Ferguson for the fiscal year 2023-24.
Interim city manager.
Yes, Mayor, at this time, I'd like to bring Evan Trump back up to the podium.
He might as well stay.
Get a lawn chair.
Evan, you might as well just stay there.
Finance director.
Get mine. All right. So the first ordinance that we're, this is again, as I noted before, but I'll, in more detail, making appropriate adjustments to bring positions, full-time positions within the city better in line with being competitive in the workplace. This is also adjusting for fire union negotiated pay steps and also negotiated police union steps. And that also includes within the police department, fixing the adjustment with the captain rank as well, and their pay. This also gives Ferguson the ability to be more attractive for recruitment, for future employment, and hopefully retaining employees longer as well.
Councilwoman Lipka.
So, Mr. Trump, the question I have is, we've talked about the pension. How does that fall into this? I mean, I know there was discussion about raising the pension for future retirees, but what about the request for raising the pension for current retirees?
So what the pension board voted on and approved is that they have and presenting to within the budget is that all future retirees, starting on July 1, anybody retiring in July 1 moving forward, they voted to raise their contribution limit from 1.75% to 2%. The current retirees were to get a 4% COLA increase one time. That was their vote and recommendation. That also included, why that's important for the budget is because that also required, based on actuary figures, to keep the pension funded up closer to 100%, as possible. That would include the city to pay $555,000 to the pension fund, which is about $150,000 increase from what we had before. So that's how that would fit.
Where does the 14% come in that they were discussing?
That's the percent increase from 1.75 to 2%.
Oh,
That's the percentage increase.
so if you made them equivalent, what would that sound like for the current retirees?
And sorry, so if we made them 4% across the board, I'm want to make sure I understand your question.
So you're saying that the 1.7 moving up to 2 is the 14%.
That is correct.
And what they were saying is that the 4% that they're getting should be equal to what the current retirees. So they're basically saying they should get the same number and they should get 10% more. What would that look like if that were something that happened?
If that did, that would, I just based off my general knowledge of what the actual figure showed, it would start to deplete the pension fund and go below, probably more than likely go below a 90, maybe closer to 80% funding rate.
Okay. All right.
Mayor and council, this is John Hampton again. So I've been talking to some of the retirees, and there's a potentially different way we can go about this. And, they're talking about doing maybe a 4% this year, and then again, looking at 4% next year, and maybe a 2 or 4% the following year to try to get these pensioners that have worked for the cities hard to get them where they need to be. Let's face it. I mean, when you're working 10, 15, 20 years ago, the cost of living, what you made back then, has not kept up with the pension, or the pension has not kept up with the times. So even right now with the 1.75% is what the pensioners get when they reach age 65 from the 2%. We did that to help I guess it was so we could get the insurance portion for some of these pensioners. So one of the reasons the pensioners are a little bit upset as well is because some of these pensioners that started off getting a 2% are now back down to 1.75, and they want to know why they shouldn't be brought back up to the 2% as well.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Bill number 7248. Without objection, we're introduced by council members present. Attorney Carey, could you please read the bill by title only?
Yes, ma'am. Bill number 7248. An ordinance repealing ordinance number 2021-3698 and adopting an ordinance fixing the salaries of part-time employees of the Parks and Recreation Department of the city of Ferguson for the fiscal year 2023-24.
Interim city manager.
Yes, Mayor, Council. Again, Evan Trump, can you please come up to the podium?
Oh, you didn't go far. Okay.
Again, this is going along with the full-time employees, the same thing with the part-time employees. This is to make sure that part-time employee wages or salaries are in line, and especially this is more key to ensure that everybody's above the minimum wage and meeting that requirement that's set by the state.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, I entertain a motion to amend bill number 7249.
So moved, Linda Lipka.
Second, Heather Robinette.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Bill number 7249 has been amended. Without objection, we're introduced by council members present. Hear none, Attorney Carey, could you please read the bill by title only?
Yes, ma'am. Bill number 7249 49. An ordinance of the city of Ferguson, Missouri, granting a special use permit to First Presbyterian Church of Ferguson for the purpose of operating a child care facility at 401 Darst Road, subject to the conditions, restrictions, and requirements set forth herein.
Interim City Manager.
Yes, Mayor, this was just in our special use presentation from Rachel. If you need more information, I can call her back, and or the gentleman's in the front, I believe.
Okay, thank you. We move to bills requiring second reading. We have bill number 7246. I'm requesting a motion and a second to read the bill a second time and place it upon the passage.
So move Naquita Noah.
Second, Linda Lipka.
Attorney Carey, could you please read the bill?
Yes, ma'am. Bill number 7246. An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Ferguson, Missouri to enter into and execute an agreement regarding the grant of a temporary slope and construction license to the county of St. Louis for Elizabeth Avenue.
City Manager?
Yes, Mayor. I have nothing further on this.
Okay. Clerk Pittman, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Noah. Aye. Councilman Palmer.
Aye.
Councilman Ashby.
Aye.
Councilwoman Robinette.
Aye.
Mayor Jones.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lipka.
Aye.
Councilwoman Nelson.
Bill number 7246 passes. Do we have any unfinished business for tonight?
Mayor, were we supposed to vote on the one for the daycare?
No, that's first reading. First reading. Any unfinished business for tonight? Hear none. Do we have any new business for tonight?
I'll make it fast, but I would like to make sure everybody's paying attention to the BTC letter that's circulating in email, so we can hopefully bring that to resolution if we can address all the concerns of our legal counsel.
Any other new business? We move to the miscellaneous portion of the meeting. We will start with Councilwoman Noah.
Thank you, Mayor. I just would like to thank everyone who participated in the Forestwood Neighborhood Association cleanup this past weekend. And thank you, Municipal Services, for your help. And don't forget about the Juneteenth event this weekend at Plaza at 501, June 17th from 1 p.m. until 6 p.m. And everyone be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Noah. Councilman Palmer.
I have nothing tonight. Thank you.
Councilman Ashby.
I just want to thank everybody in the city for just the great job they're doing on putting together the budget and the conciseness of it, keeping it balanced. We really, really appreciate all the attention to detail. It makes our job so much easier.
Councilwoman Robinette.
So I would like to publicly thank our let me start back. My husband was in a bicycle accident on Florissant Road last week. And I would like to thank, first of all, the dispatchers who took my daughter's 911 call, and definitely the firefighters and the police that showed up. They were very kind, and an officer even took their bikes home as my husband got taken to the hospital in an ambulance. So I just really, everybody that was there and tended to him and tended to my pretty upset daughter, just purely professional and wonderful. And I say this all the time. We have great first responders, but to see it in action and to really get the full view of it, it warms my heart to know that that's what other people are getting, the service that they're getting as well. So thank you to everyone who was involved.
Thank you, Councilwoman Robinette. Councilwoman Lipka.
So I want to kind of expand on what Councilman Ashby was referring to. We have a situation in Ferguson where the Archdiocese has decided to combine parishes. And BTC, which is a parish that has been in Ferguson for over 65 years, is now being subsumed, which what that means is they're being absorbed, so to speak, by Sacred Heart and Florissant. So Sacred Heart is absorbing St. Rose, Philip Duchesne, and BTC. So the main parish as a physical building will be Sacred Heart. There is an opportunity, the new father over the Sacred Heart Parish will have to make a decision as to a secondary location, a satellite, for best use of a word, because the congregation is going to be so large that the physical building of Sacred Heart cannot fulfill their needs. So there will have to be a second location. Currently, the mayor of Florissant is campaigning with the Archbishop to make the second location also in Florissant. They would either use Philip Duchesne or they would use St. Rose. If that happens, that means there will be absolutely no presence or services that the Catholic Church gives our community and has for many, many years on this side of 270 at all. Before you say, but Linda, there's Our Lady of Guadalupe, there is, but in this change, the Archdiocese has decided to make Our Lady of Guadalupe a personal parish. So what that means is parishes are given territories, and within their territories, they are to do their work. And the territory of BTC has been from 170, 270, 70, and further back, West Florissant area. The personal parish concept, they don't have any territories. They only deal with their parishioners within that church. Our Lady of Guadalupe will become a personal parish, and it will cater to the Spanish citizens of St. Louis County and City. It will be their Spanish citizens, that will be their only parish that they can go to. And all of their masses will be in Spanish. Nothing will be in English. So that being said, and then if you step on one side of Our Lady of Guadalupe, you're in Cool Valley. If you step on the other side of the yard, you're in Ferguson. So the point being that right now, if you want as a community for BTC to be considered as the satellite location for Sacred Heart, it is imperative that people take a moment, write a letter, send it in to the Archdiocese and let them know. Right now, I know the Florissant citizens have sent in over 400, 500 letters from their citizens, and we have not. We have a lot of the parishioners at BTC are definitely sending in letters. I personally have sent in a letter, but as a community, all of us, and I've got two amazing gentlemen here representing the Presbyterian Church, and they know how important it is for the BTC to be here and be part of this community. The churches work together. They build a foundation and a fiber in this community that is imperative, and Presbyterian Church, the Catholic Church, the Baptist Church, all the other churches. We've got Ferguson's very amazing with the fact that we have so many churches here, but they have to work together, and they are only as strong as their community. So as a community, if you do not want to see this happen and you want to see BTC being chosen as the satellite location, I ask that you take some time to write these letters. It's super important. And there may be a time when other denominations need our assistance as well. And I think we can ask the same at that time, because these denominations have been part of this community and they've helped the communities, and now they need the community's help. That is my platform there. I would also like to say Happy Father's Day. And I would also like to give a very special Happy Father's Day to Mr. Palmer, because this is his first one. So.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Nelson.
I only have the Somerset Park Neighborhood Association will have their meeting on July 13th at 6:30, and it'll be at the Emerson Y.
Oh, good. Thank you, Councilwoman Nelson. Interim City Manager Hampton. He's doing something. City Clerk.
No report.
Attorney Perry. Interim City Manager.
Mayor, Council, again, it was a pleasure being here tonight. I'm sorry I'm not there. I'm on vacation. My signal is kind of weak, but I do apologize for my language. Apparently, I was still on when I was getting Rachel back on. So I apologize for that. I hope everybody has a nice June 10th coming up.
Thank you. Thank you. Just want to say the ladders and lures fishing tournament on Saturday, the kids, it was phenomenal. We had over 100 children out there fishing. One youth caught a 18-inch wide mouth bass. And the park rangers made certain that it was 18 inches. And it was 18 inches. So it was a great event for the young people. And when the tournament was over, it was open fishing for anyone who would like to fish. So I did my part. I put my pole in the water. I'd just like to share that I had an opportunity to talk with Mayor Lowry, and he and I are working on a plan so that BTC would become the satellite. So he is going to talk to the archdiocese again, and we are going to talk to the mayors and see if we could get some momentum behind keeping BTC open as a satellite to have at least one mass and the school remain open. I would like to say happy Father's Day to everyone. And don't forget, Juneteenth celebration starts on Thursday, June the 14th, and it ends on the 19th. It's a list of events all over North County. However, the biggest one is in Ferguson on the 17th. So please come out and support the Juneteenth event. At this time, I'm requesting a motion and a second to adjourn.
So move, Naquita Noah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Boy, it's a miracle you got that one done in 2 hours.